This is the Novak Prelude chess computer from 1986, and I am going to play it to see if I can beat it before you up there fall asleep. But first, let's examine this, both the outside and also open it up and look what's inside the chess computer so I can see what I am up against. So the first thing we notice is there is a protective shield that we can open like this to very clearly see the very simple setup. We notice we have 2 queens and 2 pawns extra for both sides, so both sides have 20 pieces, and I believe they do this both as a little service, so you can queen 2 times without losing your queen, and you can lose 2 pawns to the god of the laundromat or whatever, and still play on. But also because I believe they cast these plastic pieces in rows of 10, so it would make sense to have 40 pieces in total. And then we have the input board over here where we are going to interface with the computer, the output screen, and some very simple button options here. The machine runs on a 9-volt battery, and we notice that there is no input for external power supply, and we have a very simple on button here on the side. But now let's open it up and see what we have on the inside. So let's open it up. And there we go. So inside the computer here we see that the computer is already tiny, but actually it's just this small circuit board connected to the 9-volt battery, and the rest of the space is actually unused. That's why also they made room for these 2 holders for pieces that you have captured. And we see all these 64 risers. They're actually not risers, there are holes for the pieces, for the pegs, for the pieces on the other side, and you can see there's no electronics connected to this, so the board is not smart. We can see here the brains of the computer is right here. Don't know if it shows up on the camera, but this is a TMP 47C220AF chip. This is from the 47 family of chips from Toshiba. So this is a 4-bit CPU. It runs at 16 megahertz. So yeah, it can count to 15, and it's compared to modern devices, of course, extremely slow. So let's see what's beneath this. Okay, we got the screws out, so we can remove this, and I'll just move it over slightly. So you can see the buttons here. That goes through these through holes. And up here, you can see the pins connected to this little thing here. And this is the display This is a 7-segment 4 places display, so just enough for writing E2 to E4, for instance. And then I believe there is a small custom X in there as well for takes. So, and if we remove this kind of nice rubber thing, we can see the connections here. So this is a very simple design. You press down on a button, then this little thing will touch the circuit here and complete the circuit, letting the machine, the CPU on the other side, know what the input is. Do you think I can beat this before you fall asleep? Or do you think you will fall asleep first? Or do you think I will even lose to this little program here? I can tell you a bit more about the program. It's or the machine in general. It has a read-only memory, so that would be the hard disk, although it's not a disk, of the machine of 2 kilobytes. Fumble, 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 there we go. 2 kilobytes, so 2000 bytes in total to store the entire AI. So first we take these extra pieces away. Then we switch on the machine, like so. You can see it indicates that it's ready for some chess action here on the display. I want the machine to face this way, so I'll be playing the black side. And I can choose the level here. But before I do that, I want to tell you that we are not going to play at level 8, which is the highest level, because I did a test game with the machine playing at level 8, and it took about 5 to 15 minutes for every move it played, and it played absolutely horribly. And then I did a test where I played against it at level 4, where it still took some minutes to play a move, but it was faster, and actually it played better. So just to show, I'm going to show like the first moves of my game against the machine at the highest level. Played E4, nothing wrong with that, very good move. Played C5, this is Sicilian defense. The machine inexplicably pushed the pawn further, already a very poor move, already giving black a bit of an advantage. I attack the pawn with knight c6. Then the machine plays queen to e2 to protect the pawn. And I play d5. The machine captures that. Also a poor move, allowing me to play queen takes. And now it's like where we can really see that it plays poorly at level 8. It played queen to e3. So that move is just very clear that the machine has no idea about opening principles. But how would it? In a program that's 2000 bytes. I played e5. The machine played bishop to b5, and I played knight g to e7. And here the machine played d3, and basically here we had been playing for 45 minutes, and I was like, okay, this is not going to work. So I tried out playing against it at level 4, where it played better and much faster. So that makes for a more interesting video, I think. So, machine is very, very easy to use. Choose level. It's just you just press level. You say I want to play at level 4. Then you press enter to confirm that. Now the machine assumes that I want to play white, but because because I want the chessboard to be like this. I want to play black, so I just press enter again, and you can see the display up here starts flashing, so indicating that it wants or that it's thinking. Now it plays e2 to e4. Great move. And I'm thinking we will play g7 to g6 to not have a repeat of the first game. So g7 to g6. This can become a modern defense, Pierce defense, something like that. And we see d2 to d4. Now that's more like it. Very nice move. We will then play bishop to g7, that is f8 to g7, so f8, g7, and the machine is now thinking about that. So here it actually played theory for 2 moves, which is very nice, meaning that it will maybe not be just a walkover. I have the black pieces, I'm behind 1 tempo already, and let's see what it comes up with. f1 to c4. So bishop coming out. I mean, this is a totally fine move. I will play pawn to d6, probably putting a knight out before that move. It's a little better, but this machine is playing quite well so far. I would say this is still an okay move. So we will play d7 to d6, like so, simply preparing knight to f6 with an attack here, and maybe we can get the fork trick in, who knows. So it starts flashing faster, maybe it's because it's thinking faster. Yeah, and I have a really cool project I can tell you about with a patron. But let's first see, like it wants to play c1 to g5. So that is this bishop coming here. I mean, that's probably not that great of a move. I could, try to kick this away, but I don't feel like I want to. I'll just play the knight out like I planned, knight to f6. So that is the knight on g8 to f6. And the project is, there's this cool guy, Unusual Butter, he's a patron of mine, and we've got together working on hacking my old 1988 Mephisto chess computer, and we're going to make a video about that. We're opening it up and doing all sorts of cool stuff to it to make it a much stronger chess computer. Now we see c4 to b5 check. That's a horrible move. The bishop comes here with a check. We are, of course, just going to play pawn to c6 to block the check and attack the bishop. The bishop will have to drop back to defend this pawn. So we will say c7 to c6, c7, c6, like so. So the knight is attacking here, and the pawn is attacking here. So if the bishop does not drop back to defend the pawn, we will come in and capture the pawn. Alternatively, the bishop can capture the knight first, because if we capture the bishop can capture this bishop here. So bishop takes bishop is also possible. Those are the only moves that are playable in this position. And we see c5 takes f6. Okay, and then we will play g7 takes f6, which is a very nice move to play. g7, f6, like so. Yeah, and if you want to be part of projects like this, with unusual butter, I do of course have this Patreon. This was just something we cooked up in the ASMR patron Discord, and yeah, the patron Discord is for my patrons who support the channel with some amount every month. Some is like $1, some is like $10, and there's also of course exclusive videos and stuff. So now we have b4 to b5 to c4. The bishop comes back to c4. So I think we will just castle, and I assume that we are going to write that as e8 to g8. So let's check that out. e8, g8. Yes, that works. And that is because technically in chess, maybe you didn't know that. But castling is a king move in chess. So the machine has a much better position than when it was playing at level 8. It's amazing. Maybe it just confuses itself because it has so limited calculation abilities and so limited understanding of chess that it just gets worse and worse the more it calculates, because it cannot see very far anyway. And maybe the small bit of chess knowledge it has gets overridden the farther it calculates. Maybe it's something like that. If there are some people who know about this, I'd be very happy to read about it in the comments. Yeah, so I'm very excited for supercharging my Mephisto chessboard. Now we have g1 to f3, developing this knight, which makes just absolutely perfect sense. Are we going to develop a knight? Are we going to develop a bishop? Are we going to play b5? I think b5 looks very good. b7 to b5. So b7, b5, like so. This is a structure we very often want to have in the periods or modern or these types of openings here. We can put the bishop out here, maybe push this pawn, challenge the center, attack this pawn. Lots of good stuff. And yeah, of course, if you're a regular on the channel, first of all, thank you. You rock. All the regular people watching this channel, everybody watching this channel, awesome, of course. But then you know that I use the very modern chess computer, the Chess-Up 2, very regularly. And I have also been speaking to the good guys at Bright Labs, particularly Jeff, about possibly getting some secret info so I can overclock my modern chess computer. So there's still there's proprietary technology and stuff, but that would be so cool if we could do that. If I could, have the strongest Chess-Up 2 computer in the world, how cool would that be? And showing you guys the process of doing it and everything, it'd just be so cool. Okay, so the machine is thinking about where to put the bishop. So I would suggest coming to e3. And it does play d3. I mean, it does play bishop to d3. So I think we can just play bishop to b7. We could also start with playing pawn to a6, but I think just bishop to b7. So we come from c8 to b7, like so. Okay. Okay, so what will the machine play now, do you think? What will the machine play now? I think it's so interesting that it plays better when it calculates less. Maybe that's true in some human games as well. Sometimes when I calculate, what is that they say? Long variation, wrong variation, where if I try to calculate something really, really long and complex, then I miss something, and I may even miss a pretty obvious counter very early in the variation. So I didn't have to calculate 3, 4, 5 moves ahead, because there is like a move that I didn't reply that I didn't consider that my opponent could play. That just makes the whole thing, whole line, unusable. So now we see E1 to G1. So it is castling. Cool. So I think knight to D7. So that would be B8. B8 to D7 is pretty good. And we want to play something like rook C8, A6, and then C5. I think C5 is going to be our main breakthrough idea. We see E4 to E5. Okay. So that is a move I must admit I did not consider. So we could of course play it, but then pawn takes pawn, then this bishop would be blunted a little bit. However, we could then play knight to B6 with an attack on the pawn. That looks pretty good, actually. But then maybe this pawn falls. So I would rather they capture my pawn. So I think also they just missed that I can capture this B2 pawn. So it's not calculating very far ahead. We can be very sure of that. So we just play F6, captures B2. Oh, that's not right. Why isn't that right? F6. Why can't I play that? Why can't I play that? Oh, it's because it didn't play, of course. It played this move. That makes a lot more sense, of course. I read it wrong. I already plotted in F6. So I think I will just play F6 to G7. G7 like so, to not confuse myself or the computer any further. Okay, so far machine's playing a million times better than it did at level 8. I'm maybe a little bit confused, but sometimes when I do ASMR videos, I get so relaxed that I kind of forget to take it very seriously. Yeah, but chess can be like a very serious game, but it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be so important if you win or lose, It doesn't have to be that important. Just chill out, appreciate the beauty, appreciate like so many details about chess. Of course, for instance, this like technology, like it's such a snapshot of a very short period of our technological development. So we got the first commercially available chess computer in 1976, and I'll continue rambling after I play e4 takes d6, like so, and we'll just, that's the first blot here, I think, so we will just play e7 takes d6, like so. And yeah, we got the first chess computer in 1976. That's not that long after the microchip and the transistor was even started being mass produced. And then we made these little things here, and that's just one piece of chess that you can sort of see how far chip design was, how the aesthetics for electronics were, and of course it's just one very tiny fraction of what chess is. Chess has a super rich history. Chess is awesome. Now we see c2 to c4. I think a very reasonable move. I think we will perhaps capture that with the idea of playing c. Yeah, we will just capture that. So we play b5 takes b. Let's see here. b5 takes c4, like so. Chess has this super rich history, of course. And there's so much more to chess than just the competitive aspect, which is cool, super cool. But it's, you can see so many cultural things, and it has 100-year history, 1,000-year history, the game of chess has. So you can see how the pieces develop throughout the ages and how they mirror changes in society. You can see how different ideas pop up about how to play chess as the prevailing ideas in society change. I can elaborate on that after we see d3, excuse me, takes c4, and I'm thinking that we could just play c5 here. So we will play c6 to c5, c6, c5. So for instance, in the golden age or the romantic era in the 1800s, there was a focus on playing inspired chess, because in that time period all the art was about the sort of divine inspiration, and we were reverent of the genius and all this spiritual idea of connecting to the other side and some sort of through the art, and that was mirrored in chess. So you had to play daring, spectacular, brilliant chess, going for sacrifices and brilliant attacks, making immortal games, that sort of stuff. The idea that pawns are the soul of chess, that came from Philidor, who was a Frenchman, and that was an idea developed around the time of the French Revolution, that Philidor had to flee from and go to England, where he had to make his money as a chess player, and actually played the very first blindfold simultaneous exhibition that we know about. So now we see d4 to d5. I was hoping for that. So now we have a very nice target here. I am thinking that we just play knight on d7 to b6. So d7, b6. So now attacking this twice, also attacking this bishop, and we can see if we want to put more pressure on this pawn later. And I think also just coming in and capturing this pawn now, I believe is possible if I haven't played the wrong moves again. But then we'll just try to go with that, see if we can make something with that. Yeah, and Philidor, of course, said that pawns are the soul of chess, and if you think about it, all the pieces in the back here, they have an identity. We have a king, we have a queen, we have a knight, that's part of the army, we have bishop, that's part of the clergy, we have the rooks, they symbolizes the power in the building, the structures, the forts, the castles they have. But what about the pawns? They don't look like anything. That's because it was a game for the powerful and privileged, and the rest, like these are called peasants in Danish, they don't matter. They didn't matter at that time, and that's reflected in this. And then at the time when there was a revolution saying the lower classes do matter, that's reflected in understanding that pawns are the soul of chess, and that it is how you play with your pawns that determine if you win or lose the game. Actually, it's very fascinating. So now we have b1 to a3, just defending this. And I think maybe I missed earlier the chance to capture this here, but let's see if we can do it now. So we play g7 takes b2, and now it does work. And this is, of course, a devastating move. If you can see that, it's a fork of these two pieces, and if the knight moves, then this bishop will fall to the attack from this knight. So machine played very, very well up until about this point, and now it's all going downhill fast for the machine. So if it tries to save the rook, which I think it may, but maybe it doesn't know that the rook is better than the bishop. If it tries to save the rook, we just capture the knight. If the knight moves, we capture the rook. And if the machine then tries to capture our bishop, we can capture their bishop. So we see d1 to d3, which actually is a pretty good move. It does not work, however. So we will play b2 takes a... takes a3. This move. Because after queen takes, we have knight takes bishop on c4, winning a whole piece. So yes, chess is just absolutely amazing, and it doesn't have to be competitive all the time. I love the current chess climate. I love that we have like this young, cool 18, 19-year-old Indian world champion Gukesh, who's just, setting records. I love that we have Magnus Carlsen, sort of the old man who's still the best, but is getting cranky and trying to make a new form of chess. But it's all the content out there and all the journalism surrounding chess, all about the competitive aspect, not so much about the beauty or the history. So while I do love the current climate, I think we could make room for other ways to enjoy chess. So now we have a1 to d1. We have the rook just moving. So actually the machine realized that queen takes here 4 doesn't do anything because I can just come in and capture here. And now I want to save my bishop, so I will play the bishop back to b2. So bishop from a3 to b2. And we are up a piece. We have our bishop on the long diagonal. We do have pressure against this pawn, but it's very well defended 1, 2, 3 times. So I wonder what we can do from here. I wonder what we can do from here. So what would the machine want to play? This knight is horrible. This square is taken by the queen, these two by the pawns. This bishop is horrible, just looking into this. And so we see f3 to d2. Okay. Okay. How about playing this little move? I think that is a very nice move. b2 to d4. I like that this bishop on this diagonal has all these a1, b2, c3, d4, e5, f6, g7, and h8. So it's very easy to plot in this bishop on this way of inputting moves into a chessboard. So I guess this is my favorite piece of the game. It's also the piece that won piece for us, and now it's the one that isolates this pawn. So now this pawn is attacked twice and just blocks all of this stuff. So now we see d3 to e4. So d3 to e4, trying to protect this pawn. We are of course immediately going to challenge that queen. I think simple move, rook coming to e8. So we go f8 to e8 with an attack on the queen, and I think we are extremely happy in the position, especially if the queen has to go back to f3, because then the knight cannot come to f3 where it would be attacking our super strong bishop. It could of course then come to b3. I may consider prophylactically playing pawn to a5 with an idea of going to a4 to stop the knight from coming there. But also maybe I should try to just get some checkmate threads going to see if I have a chance to win this game pretty quickly. I guess you will know because you can see how long there's left of the video. But I don't know, or if I will even win. Do you think I will win? I'm pretty confident, I have to say. Upper piece, all my pieces are better. My king safety is better. These two bishops, very strong. This knight is very strong. This rook is very strong. I actually don't only have the queen and the rook that I need to do something with. So now we see, the queen coming back here. And could we play something like queen coming here? So we have 1, 2, and 3 attackers on this pawn. I think that looks quite reasonable. So that would be d8 to g5 to g5. Unless, of course, Unless, of course, actually this knight coming here is sort of a huge problem. But I'm not sure it is. I may actually sack the exchange in that case. But let's see. I think that's probably the best move and one that I overlooked. The point being that it attacks the queen and this pawn, and I would probably have to quite humbly go all the way back with the queen, unless I can figure something else out. Maybe queen to e4, trying to exploit that there's no rook. There's no rook e1. So now we see c2, no, g2 to g3. Okay, so not the move I was expecting at all. That's quite surprising. I think we will play knight takes. Knight on b6, captures on d5. Knight on b6, captures on d5, like so. Maybe that's a bit too ambitious. I am putting myself in a pin. Maybe knight coming here to e4 is very good now. Who knows? Maybe the machine wants to play this pawn here to attack the queen. And also with this rook e1, takes, check is no longer checkmate because the king has an escape square, but getting two rooks for the queen when I am already up a piece, actually not a problem at all. Actually not a problem at all. I love the aesthetic of this. It's all brown. Like everything about this except for this protective shield is just different nuances of brown. Dark brown, slightly lighter brown, but still dark brown, and then a little like beige brown, and then turning towards orange brown for this, and that's all we need. h2 to h4, we do see this attack on the queen. So I am thinking that queen coming here. Oh, but you know what? Actually, this knight is helping out. Because I won't get two rooks for the queen, because if they play rook here, I will. Yeah, I still, okay. So I think that's what we are going to play. That's the queen on g5. So we have g5 to e5. That is that one. So any rook to e1, rook d e1, or rook f e1, we just take, I think. But maybe the skewer is actually pretty bad at the end of that. Maybe that skewer is actually pretty bad at the end of that. Unless I have some really cool move. I don't think I do. But something like knight coming here, rook takes queen check, knight here, check. King coming here. Let's see what the machine comes up with. I think I was a little careless here. And now we have d1 to c1. Oh, I had to fix my light, so I was away for a little bit there, but actually it's playing d1 to c1, not challenging the queen, and I feel like we kind of must have some sort of knockout blow here with the bishop looking at the queen there, and I mean something must give. So for instance, no, it doesn't work. I could also just defend the bishop with something like this. I think just rook here, just a little preparatory move. So there's rook a8 to b8. So let's see what the machine comes up with as a response here. I'm not sure exactly what I'm supposed to be threatening, but it's something with this knight here jumping away, and then exposing an attack on the queen from the bishop. And of course, if the queen moves, we may contemplate queen takes pawn on g3. It's something we absolutely could consider. Because the pawn here is pinned to the king by the bishop. So that is very interesting. And I think if we see something like rook f to e1 now, then bishop coming to e3 with an attack on the queen is almost certainly winning. That would also attack the g2 square. And unfortunately, this pawn would no longer be pinned because the knight would be in the way. Okay. So we do have f1 to d1. The machine has no clue what it's doing, I think. I think we can at least win the exchange. So I think we will try that. d5. Okay, where is it going? I don't know where this knight is going. It's almost as if we are trapping the queen. I think it goes here. I think I have an idea now. So the knight goes to f6. So my idea now is that the queen has a very hard time protecting this square, keeping protection of this square. So it can go here to keep protecting this square, but then I was thinking we would challenge it once more. And then then it could go forwards. I can't really get this to work. How about something, the queen comes here, bishop takes, king takes, and queen check. That looks like it's just winning. It's actually checkmate, I think, because of the bishop. So it comes here, we take here, check, king takes, queen here, check, and mate. no, the king can come here and then here checkmate. So queen g2 checkmate. So okay, we have maybe found a way to end the game. I just needed to remember where the pieces were. Where the pieces were. I'm interested in if the machine can recognize checkmate. That's also like it's also a thing you have to program in, that you also have to fit that in to the 2000 kilobytes or the 2000 bytes of memory. So we have f3 to f4. So I somehow failed to consider that move, which is annoying. So let's figure out what we can do. Can't play to e6, get captured. Can't go to e7, get captured. So I think, unfortunately, I have to admit that was just a huge mistake and go all the way back to e7. So we go from d5, excuse me, this is e, okay, just get out of that. So we go from e5 to e7. So here we are, protecting this, protecting the knight, and admitting that we put that this knight move was pretty horrible, and I think it can get worse now even, because I think now this rook move here is, no, I mean we can take it. Rook takes check, and it's not so bad. And I don't know, maybe we can get some knight here that will do something. Maybe. But I just missed this queen f4 move. Sleeping on the job. Okay. So, how am I trying to be too fancy? It's just these two bishops are so strong. Queen and rook so strong. I feel like there must be an attack. How about this crazy idea? Queen comes here. It's not sacrificing the knight because the knight is defended by the bishop, and that would be threatening queen here, which is very, very dangerous. And maybe that's not super easy to. Okay, so we have d2 to f3, so we have the knight coming here. Now I'm thinking about attacking the queen like this, because the queen doesn't have a great many squares she can go to where she can keep defending the knight. Maybe only this one. And there we can attack her again. So I think, or this plane could potentially also be very good. But I think we will try knight on f6, f6 to h5. So h5. So we also don't want this knight to be able to come in and capture this bishop is the thing. This bishop is super strong. Even though trades are good for us, we would also lose a pawn. Pawn takes, rook takes. And unfortunately, this bishop here is very, very well placed. So I can't, after queen here, I can't move this because it's pinned by the bishop. I mean, why is it so hard to find the knockout blow? So I guess the queen has to go to g4, right? Queen goes to g4. How? Do we keep attacking it? Maybe with the bishop? Or do we then play, let's say queen comes here, bishop takes, king takes, yes, queen here, check, king moves here, bishop takes, knight with an attack on the queen and threatening checkmate, and that wins the queen. Nice, okay, finally. Finally. So I think we finally have something here. Queen g4, bishop takes f7, f3, f2 check, king takes f2, queen e2 check, king g3, bishop takes f3, threatening the queen and checkmate. And any other move seems to either lose the queen or the knight. So finally we have our knockout blow. Okay. It plays f4 to g4. As expected, we will have the bishop leave the long diagonal, the nice diagonal where all of the squares are just the same button twice. In this case, it's d4. And now we are going to capture on f2, like so. And that is check. And actually, the king can't even afford to capture the bishop, but I don't think the machine will realize that. If the machine plays, well, anything else, but I'm probably just going to play queen to e2, or does play g1 takes f2. Alright, so I just realized that the queen, of course, can't go to e2. I keep missing this bishop. That it can come, that this bishop is actually strong. I can, however, go to e3 with check. So we will try that instead. So we will go from e7 to e3 with check. Alright. So now the thing is that our bishop sacrifice doesn't work because the king can and will go to g2, where it is protecting the knight. So now we will have to do something a little smart before we proceed, and I think that little smart thing is going to be rook coming from e8 with an attack on the queen here on e4. And now the queen will probably have to go somewhere. And then we should be pretty close to winning the game. But I got complacent, I must say. And the nice little chess computer here prompted some inaccuracies from me. So, well played, 4-bit chip. Well played. So what will it play against this? I don't think rook here is any problem. I just play queen takes rook. And if rook takes rook, then, or if rook takes queen, then rook takes queen. Or I could even do it the other way. Maybe that's even better. Rook here. No. Okay, so we see g4 to d7. Wow, it comes all the way here. Now we must be so close. There is no cool queen sacrifice, I don't think. That would be cool though, like queen takes, king takes. No, there's nothing there. So how do we proceed? How do we actually proceed from here? How about rook takes bishop, rook takes rook, queen check? I think that works. So let's go with, and also this is the bishop I really want to get rid of. So it's rook on e4 takes c4. So that is e4 takes c4. Because I keep, first of all, it was the best piece white had, and also I kept missing that it was there. So we can see rook takes here, and then queen takes here, check, and surely here, and then mate. Yes. Surely we must have found the knockout blow. But the sturdy little machine keeps coming up with stuff that I miss. So let's thinkify, brainificate. Is there anything? Is there anything? I mean, maybe the best move is something like queen takes bishop, rook takes queen, rook takes rook. Of course, we're still winning there. If rook takes rook, no problem. We have checkmate in 2, I believe. The queen can't go anywhere. to protect the knight, really. If the knight is protected by the rook, then we capture this rook. So that's fine. And so how can we? What can I have possibly messed up here? I've missed so many things in this game. So what could it be? What could it be? What could it possibly be? We have d7 takes f7 check. A queen sacrifice, simply trying to delay checkmate. So we will play king takes. So that is g8 takes f7. Now we want the queen. Now. We must be very close. Then probably rook f1, rook takes rook, rook f2, and then maybe rook g1 check, king takes g1, bishop takes f3, something like that. Stretching a bit here. What can we do? How can we mess this up? Is there any way? Is there any way? We have a queen, we have raging attack. I think we should be able to win this. But we still have to find the correct moves. So happy to get rid of this bishop on c4. So happy about that. That bishop was so annoying. So we have c1 takes c4. That doesn't do anything, because now we can play queen takes f3. So that is e3 to f3. So we have e3 to f3 with a check, and checkmate the next move, if I am not mistaken. And it's very interesting to see. So it goes g2 to h8, and then we can play queen f3 to g2, and I'm interested in how it displays mate up here. If maybe it says 1-0 or 0-1 because black wins. But we play f3 to g2, so f3 to g2. And it says lose. Aha, that's how it displays it. Lose. That's very cool. So they also have to have made room for that in the 2000 bytes of program that this machine has. Did you fall asleep? Did you fall asleep? Or did I manage to beat this before you did? I hope you liked the video. I hope I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. Hope I will see you in the next video.